What do you think about emergency funds? Specifically, like how much you need to have in one? I know there's a lot of different factors that people might be thinking about of, do I prepare for just big emergencies that may come? Do I prepare for maybe loss of income, losing a job or something like that? So what are your thoughts about maybe how somebody should think about an emergency fund? Do you think about it as a total amount, as like a certain amount of income or expenses over a few months? Like,
Yeah.
what do you recommend people think about it?
Um, so the one thing that most competent financial advisors, finance people, finance gurus, anybody that understands money a little bit will say that you need to have an emergency fund. And I 100% agree, you need to have an emergency fund. It's one of the most important, vital pieces of the financial pie. It's saved my butt a ton of times. I 100% say you need to have one. So how much do you need? That varies, in my opinion, on just your situation. You've got a lot of debt. You want to tackle that debt, so may not want to have a huge emergency fund. Uh, People like Dave Ramsey recommends $1,000, and some people say, "Oh, you need to have them fully funded." I say just do whatever you think, something that you're comfortable with, something that's achievable. Don't put too much time into it because you want to attack those debts, because debt is risk. But if you don't think like $1,000 is enough, go ahead and do 2,000. Maybe do a month's worth of expenses, just whatever makes you comfortable. But don't take too long. Go ahead and start attacking that debt. But once you're done with that, I recommend 6 months of expenses. The typical advisement is 3 to 6 months. I like 6 months strictly because I saw a statistic the other day that the average time it takes for someone to, the moment they lose their job, to find a new job was 6 months.
Mm.
And that stuck with me. To me, my emergency fund is not really for those big emergencies or even small emergencies, even though it is for that and I've used it for that. But really, from my mindset, what it's there for is when I lose my job.
Mm.
And I'm a pessimist. I always say when I lose my job. I never say if I lose my job. And it's probably a mindset problem I really need to
Yeah.
figure out. But I don't have to worry about it because I've got my 6 months sitting there waiting for when I do lose my job. So 6 months of expenses. Really, 3 is probably enough. Um, 3 is, especially if your job is safe, if it's stable, I would say 3 months is enough. But if you're, say, commission based, or you're in a kind of a, because I was in a year ago, I was in a startup, and so that wasn't the most, it wasn't the greatest job security in the world,
Mm.
right? To the job I've got now. So, and it proves right, I actually did lose my job. So, and the emergency fund saved my butt. So, if it's something that's just not stable and you just don't feel good about it, 6 months. I even saw somebody recommended a year's worth of not just expenses, but your salary.
Mm.
I think that's
Interesting.
overkill.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's way overkill because that money could be invested. It could be put towards a down payment on a house or something like that. So don't, I wouldn't say go that far, but 3 to 6 months of expenses. I like 6 months just because of that statistic I saw where
Mm.
the moment you lose your job, the average time it takes for someone to get another job of equal pay was 6 months. That's kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it does depend on just everyone's situation.
Hmm.
Could be different. So, someone that's, if it's a dual income household, who both have stable jobs, maybe don't have a lot of bills that you're going to have to be paying, then maybe, you look at the 3 months. But if you're, very dependent on one income and that's maybe not as stable, it could be a seasonal, or, as you said, commission or something like that, that might not be as stable, then maybe looking at a 6 month. I think that would be wise.
Yeah.
For my wife and I, it's just us. We both have pretty stable, jobs that we like, and so you always do want to think, as you said, a little bit of pessimism, or just knowing that Murphy's law, something that can go wrong will go wrong. So
Yeah.
I think having that buffer is good. For us, we veer a little more towards the three. I think we're a little more than 3 months, of expenses. That's what we have. But we know that as we, grow, as we take on, things down the road, if we, get a house, or we just get more, stuff that we're having to pay for, or, um, you know, just responsibilities down the line, that we're going to have to increase that. So I think it's
Hmm.
flexible. Maybe it's, it starts out as a goal of like, okay, I want to save this certain amount, but as you go, that amount can change. And so if you have a spouse, I think whatever number you're both confident in, for us, we just picked a number that gives us security, and we're like, okay, we feel like we'd be good. So it
Hmm.
may not be exactly what someone else's is. So if you want to have the year, worth of salary, if that makes you comfortable and you're both safe with that, then, you know, what you understand and what you feel confident in, you can do that. But yeah, I think you can definitely, I think 6 months, is reasonable,
Hmm.
because you want to have a good cushion, but, you want to be able to use some of that other money to go towards, different goals. So I think it's a balance. You don't want to get overly pessimistic,
Yeah.
you want to have enough set aside, but also realize you got other stuff you want to do with your money other than just have
Yeah.
it sit there. So it's a
Honestly,
balance.
when it just having the emergency fund itself, it does matter how much is in there. Like we said, 3 to 6 months is a good amount. But just having it, even if you didn't have that 3 months, if it was just 1 month, it is a peace of mind. It really helps your mindset, helps you kind of change your focus of what's important, and you can kind of breathe a little bit. You can
Mhm.
know if the car breaks down, you're going to be okay. One person
Right.
told me that their emergency fund is enough to buy another car. When the moment their
Oh,
car breaks down, they can go ahead and grab another one. That brings them peace. That brings them
mm,
a sense of stability. And if crap happens, everything's
right,
going to be okay.
right.
And crap happens. We
Yeah,
just had a quarantine, pandemic, and it's still going on. So
right.
you just have an emergency fund. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Don't focus too much on a certain, if 3 months is enough for you, go for it. Just find what makes you feel comfortable,
Yeah,
something that makes you feel stable, and go for it, and just have it. It's amazing. I'm telling you, it'll change your life.
yeah.